All right, we got the engine in and everything is pretty much set up. The last part I had to buy, a little coupler for the heater hose there. After 5 months of accumulating parts and spending the last 4 or 5 weeks putting everything back together, last piece. I got everything set up here. I got the mechanical oil pressure gauge here. I've been doing this just for the break-in because I want to make sure that I'm getting good pressure and I know that this works and is accurate. So it's just kind of a temporary setup. I got my pump here. I tried this when I tore everything down. I'm going to use this to prime the fuel. So I disconnected my fuel hose right here, and I'm going to connect up this end, and I'm going to pull gas through everything and prime the system. And I have the top of the carb off. I'm going to go ahead and fill up the bowl as well with gas. I want to make sure that it starts about as soon as it possibly can. It's looking good. Pretty excited to get it started. Oh, and I charged the battery too, just to make sure. Now we're going to start this thing up in a little bit. I've duct taped a little ball pump, and I'm going to prime the gas system with it. I'm just going to make sure that it's coming out through here, then I'm going to fill up the ball. Okay, that worked out perfectly. I got some gas in there. I'm going to go ahead and fill out the carb bowl with what I siphoned out of there, so now it's nice and primed. Should be good. So I'm coming back to record this during the break-in, which I'll show in just a minute. Had a couple of things I just wanted to point out. You'll probably notice that there was some gas squirting out of there, and then I ran to go fix it after I figured out what was happening. Yeah, I had not tightened down the gas line completely from when I had it disconnected before, so lucky that didn't cause any issues, but just a reminder that go through and double check everything and all the hoses and the gas lines and everything else. I also had one of the other coolant hoses, which luckily just dripped a couple drops. So I got those things fixed. Then also you notice that when I was turning it over, the reason why it didn't start right away, it kind of kicked and then stopped and then kicked and then stopped, was because it had been so long I'd forgotten I had the kill switch on. So that little click that you'll see there within a couple of minutes of me starting this was me realizing that, and I clicked the kill switch back on, and as soon as I did that, it cranked right up. So I think overall priming the gas really helped get it kicked off, because it was going to start, it's just the kill switch had been off. So I think that really worked well. I would recommend that. Also, you notice that there's a little bit of a squeak. That was the belts. I think one of my belts as well. I had powder coated some of the pulleys, so I think that was causing a little bit of squeak. I still have it a little bit right when I first started it up, but once it's going, it goes away. So that's just the belts. And then also you'll notice that if you listen closely, you hear a little bit of a tad bit of ticking. I had actually installed the rocker arms incorrectly. What I had done was, and I showed a video on this as well, kind of going back and fixing this, you are supposed to torque the bolts down. I was reading other videos and I was getting, frankly, just a little bit confused on how the rocker was set up. So I had originally set them up to be 1/2 to 3/4 turn pass, 0 lash, but that's not the way these engines are supposed to be set up. The rocker bolts are supposed to be torqued down. So just a little hint there. I had opened it up after the fact, and this is months later. I opened it up, the crank, after the fact. I tightened them all down, redid that. So it's all good now. So it runs much smoother and doesn't make that ticking noise anymore. So that's what that's from. And then you'll also see me, I was adjusting the idle. I went ahead and set the idle screw at one point much higher so I didn't have to stand there for the whole 20-25 minutes during break-in. And so I tightened it down a lot so that it would just basically idle at like 1800 somewhere there, and I revved it up here and there. And then also I was adjusting the timing on there, just trying to make sure that that was set. I was pretty lucky that the initial startup, the timing was set pretty well. I only had to adjust a little bit. So I actually had intentionally marked everything before I took it all apart so that I could put it exactly back when I restarted it, so that I wouldn't have any issues with the distributor while trying to break it in. And then just a quick thing, I think I showed this before, but this is the break-in oil I used, the Lucas. It worked out. I mean, I guess it worked fine. I did a lot of research on break-in oils, and I don't think I didn't get the impression that it really matters what it is. This is a little bit less. It has high zinc and phosphorus ZDDP package, and that is what's designed for break-in. I let it run for I probably drove it about 100 to 150 miles with the break-in oil, and then I went ahead and drained it. I already have new oil in there as well as a new oil filter. I'm using 10W30. I'm in Atlanta, so it doesn't really matter too much. And then also I'll show these in just a second. I had put on and gotten these spark plug wires. I'll show that in a second here. It's much nice. I mean, they're expensive. They were like $60, probably more than I needed to spend just to, tidy up the engine bay here. But I will say that they work fine. That the length of them is perfect for these engines. I'll show that here in just a second, but it really makes it much, much cleaner, much easier to get your hands around things with all those additional wires hanging around there. So again, just a quick of the spark plug wires, just a close up of it right here. So again, they are perfect length and tidy things up quite a bit. All right, I got everything ready. I got the fuel line hooked back up. It's primed. Gas in the carburetor bowl. Charged the battery. Got my mechanical oil pressure gauge. Got my tack kind of wired in there up in the front in the dash. I'll be able to see it when I'm standing here. And I'm basically just going to keep the idle going. I'm going to range between probably 1500 and 2500 RPMs for the next 30 minutes after I start it up, just for that initial break-in. So that was a break-in. It had those couple of issues, but all in all, it cranked up. It started, and also you may have noticed that it kind of smoothed out. It felt like it, or it sounded like it smoothed out a little bit over that 10 or 15 minutes as I was running it. By the end there, it was running really, really well. This is actually a year later, and it's been running strong ever since. So I'll talk more about that in the total close-up of the rebuild. Again, the break-in worked out fantastic. Really, really happy that it cranked up. Wasn't quite sure. First time I'd rebuilt an engine. So very, very excited that everything came out okay. I'm going to do one more video of, actually, I just thought it'd be nice to kind of wrap up the series. There's like, was it 27, 28, 29 episodes in this for the rebuild. I thought I'd wrap it up. I'd take it around the block, just show it running. I thought that would be kind of a fun thing, but I'll show that next. As well as I want to go through, I have a bit of a punch list, and I want to talk about some of the things that worked well and some of the things that didn't work so well that I might have done differently next time with the rebuild. In retrospect, it's always good to kind of recap what you did and figure out what you might do differently next time. So hopefully that'll be helpful, but that'll be in the next video, in the final episode of this series. And as always, if you have any questions or anything like that about the rebuild process, please go ahead and post them, and I'll try to respond as quickly as I can.